In Germany, investigations are underway into what's been described as Europe's biggest ever tax scandal.
Das war eine ausgesprochen
It was a very bold, brazen design.
Gestaltung.
For lawyer Eckhard Zeit, the case is personal because it's a scheme he helped expose.
Also es war ja nicht nur so.
It wasn't the case that the shares were sent on the merry-go-round just once. It was multiple times.
Next to a landmark ruling on what's been called the biggest tax heist ever.
In one case, a judge came down hard, convicting 2 senior bankers over their involvement in the scheme.
There was no loophole here. On the contrary, it was a bold grab into the till into which all taxpayers normally pay, which, by the way, is no different from ordinary sales tax fraud.
Prosecutors are now investigating more than 100 banks and financial institutions.
This isn't a story about a few rogue traders taking advantage of an opportunity in order to make personal gains. This is about whole industries taking advantage, exploiting the German taxpayer.
The deals work like this. A shareholder receives a dividend and from the German government a tax refund. The share is passed on via a broker to a second person. That person claims a second tax refund, which amounts to the tax authority paying 2 refunds on the same share. The scheme required the fast movement of shares and only worked during a brief window each year when dividends are reported. Criminologist Alex Simpson says those involved were being opportunistic.
The practice was fundamentally exploitative. They were there to take advantage of this loophole, but also take advantage of, in this case, the German taxpayer.
The scheme is estimated to have cost governments more than $80 billion.
You have this competitive race to the bottom, to dirtier tricks, to nastier tactics, and the idea that this is what competitors are doing, this is what we need to do as well.
One of the banks under investigation is Australia's Macquarie Group. It's previously told the market 100 current and former staffers are facing questions from investigators, with the current and former CEO among them.
It's hugely significant that these 2 individuals have been named.
Macquarie's full level of involvement is unclear. No one has so far been interviewed and the case hasn't led to charges. More than a decade ago, Macquarie was in the midst of an expansion into Europe.
The opportunities were limited in Australia, and what they did when they went overseas was applied the knowledge that they gained in Australia to the overseas markets.
Banking analyst Brett Lemessurier works for a finance firm that Macquarie partly owns.
Macquarie has a very good reputation for managing risk, and you can see that in their trading operations and the amount of revenue it generates, and the absence of disasters, basically.
From 2008, CEO Nicholas Moore was at the helm and senior executive Shamara Wickramanayake was by his side. Within a year, Macquarie was weighing up whether to lend money to clients for the controversial trades. 730 has obtained Macquarie documents which reveal the bank's own internal deliberations. In September 2010, a memo sent to Nicholas Moore informed him that the trades involved double crediting on tax refunds. The next month, executives including Shamara Wickramanayake put a proposal to the board seeking their approval for the trades. The document stated Macquarie stood to make up to $30 million profit from just one lending agreement. It also said reputational risks from the deals should be weighed against those potential profits. In November, an industry tax alert was emailed to Wickramanayake. The author warned the trades could sometimes amount to tax fraud and may end up before the courts. The same day, she forwarded the email to colleagues with one word.
Thoughts?
And received a reply saying tax authorities have differing views on the trades. After an independent assessment, Macquarie's board approved its involvement.
They knew it wasn't against the law, but it definitely wasn't in the spirit of the law.
Macquarie's independent legal advice at the time said acting as lender could not be characterised as tax fraud. In a statement, Macquarie told 730 it continues to cooperate with authorities.
You can take advice based on what the rules are, and that advice can be sound, and the authorities take a different view of what the law is. And then there's a fight about it, basically, about who's right.
In 2012, a client approached lawyer Eckhard Zeit after investing in the trades using a Swiss bank. Tax officials refused to pay the investor's refund, and he lost $70 million. Eckhard exposed the bank's role to German regulators.
Ich muss sagen, ich habe auch persönlichen Unwillen.
I must say it causes me personal indignation when I see members of the institutions involved in this business attending a charity event at night, wearing their navy suits and white pockets square, holding up a cheque for €5,000 which they hand over to some children's charity or other. And the next morning they go on to rob society.
Das geht nicht.
You can't do that. That's outrageous. And that's why there was no question for me. I had to do my bit immediately.
In 2017, a court ordered the Swiss bank to repay the investor. Eckhard Zeit is now spearheading a number of separate civil claims against Macquarie over the controversial trades.
Macquarie die absolut zentrale Rolle.
Macquarie played an absolutely central role. It was the spider sitting in the web. Nobody with assets, no wealthy person, would have been prepared to invest even a cent in this scheme had they known the business model that it used.
He's acting for former Macquarie customers who were promised big returns and lost out when authorities clamped down on the practice.
Den Gewinn, den Macquarie
The profit Macquarie made from this fund alone, and that's the only one that I analysed, I could work it out very precisely, almost to the cent. It was a little over €58 million.
50 Millionen Euro.
Macquarie disputes the claims and is fighting the case. Nicholas Moore left Macquarie in 2018 and Shamara Wickramanayake replaced him as CEO.
We've always worked well together now for many years.
Welcome to the Macquarie Group Limited.
Shamara Wickramanayake declined an interview request.
Good morning, thank you for joining us.
At a media briefing for Macquarie's half-yearly results, 730 sought to ask the CEO about her alleged involvement.
Mario Christodoulou from the ABC, can you hear me?
Macquarie ended the call without giving 730 an opportunity to speak.
Didn't even let me ask a question.
In September, the federal government chose Nicholas Moore to head a watchdog tasked with overseeing the country's financial regulators. The Treasurer told 730 that Moore is an outstanding leader, that he has in-depth understanding of the country's regulation and experience working with the existing regulators. Nicholas Moore didn't respond to an interview request or detailed questions. As investigations intensify, it may be the courts which decide whether Macquarie's actions were above board.
Hi, I'm Lee Sales. Thanks for watching this story. If you'd like to watch more of 730's stories, they are on the left of your screen. And tap on the button below to subscribe and get the latest from ABC News.